Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Fall and Winter Picture Books. I'm Ronnie Curry, Senior Editor, Books for Youth at Booklist. And before we begin, I will go over some technical details. Links to today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email that you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, just open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble accessing these materials, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. If you're in the audience, you are in listen-only mode, but we do welcome any questions that you may have. So on the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a button for Q&A. If you have a question, or if you need technical assistance, just click Q&A and type your message into the box that pops up. We will do our best to respond to all of the tech-related questions, and we can pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist also offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the captions icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. From there, you can select show or hide captions from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting caption settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. And today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Gelsey White, Marketing Coordinator, and Kevin Jones, Sales and Marketing Consultant, both from North South Books. We have Michelle Campbell, Assistant Director of School Marketing at Random House Children's Books, Carolina Schwartz, Publisher Strategist at Clavis Publishing, Colette Perry, Marketing Design Associate at Charlesbridge, and Chelsea Abdullah, Marketing Associate at Astra Books for Young Readers. We will also hear a short conversation between Astra Editorial Director Rebecca Davis and Illustrator Hadley Hooper. And first up, we will hear from Gelsey White and Kevin Jones. Gelsey is the Marketing Coordinator at North South Books. She is a member of Columbia Publishing Course Class of 2021 and an alumna of Vassar College. She enjoys world-building stories and books with happy endings. And Kevin is a sales and marketing consultant with over 20 years of experience with major publishers. He has held a number of senior sales and marketing positions with Bantam Doubleday Dell Books for Young Readers, Random House Children's Books, and Holiday House. Thank you so much for joining us, Gelsey and Kevin.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on this lovely fall day. As Ronnie said so nicely, my name is Gelsey White, and I'm joined here today with my associate, Kevin Jones. And let's dive right into some of our season highlights. So let's go to the next slide. Our first title is Ludwig and the Rhinoceros. The concept for this humorous story is based on a discussion between the philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein and his professor Bertrand Russell. If you're not really familiar with North-South, we're an imprint of the Swiss-German publisher Nord-Süd Verlag. So these German philosophers were the inspiration for German novelist and picture book author Naomi Schneider. The book was illustrated by the well-known duo Golden Cosmos, who have done work for the New Yorker, New York Times, and the Washington Post, among others. Next. In this story, Ludwig insists that there is a rhinoceros in his bedroom, but his father tells him there can't be a rhinoceros. His room's just too small. Next slide. What follows is a comical search for a rhinoceros that may or may not be there. However, Ludwig shows his father that something can be there, even if you can't see it. He uses the moon as an example. Even when the moon is hidden behind a cloud or is a new moon, we still know it's there. Next slide. Bookpage has said this original offering makes for an unusual bedtime tale that combines humor and depth, just right for budding philosophers everywhere. And School Library Journal says, Ludwig's childlike faith in his rhinoceros will ring true for young believers and imaginers everywhere. 3 color illustrations in a palette recalling that of Goodnight Moon create a vibrant nighttime landscape. There is back matter in this book that provides some historical and philosophical context, but the story will ring true for anyone who has ever had a child ask why or question the world around them. And if you work with children in any capacity, you know their favorite word is why. Ludwig and the Rhinoceros is a hardcover 40-page book priced at $19.95, and it went on sale September 9th. Next slide.
We are delighted to be publishing a splendid debut collaboration by the incredibly talented duo of Lena Aunlauf and Vitaly Konstantinov. Genius Noses, a curious animal compendium. I think it will be a welcome addition to your young STEM shelves and sections. I also think that it finds the sweet spot for young STEM picture books. While it is filled with facts, Lena and Vitaly never let the facts get in the way of the fun. Who knew that animal noses were so cool? Next slide, please. We learn that the stink badger of Indonesia is not actually a badger at all. It may look ferocious, but it's actually a member of the skunk family, and its main defense has nothing to do with tooth and claw. It is a powerfully stinky fluid that it expels from its rear end. We learn too that an elephant's trunk is so sensitive that it can detect the presence of water that is 6 miles away. Next slide, please. All in all, Lena and Vitaly cover 16 animal noses in detailed 2-page spreads, and 26 additional noses are surveyed on multi-animal pages. Examples of mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, fish, and insects are all included. Readers will discover new facts about familiar animals, such as aardvarks and antelopes, as well as knowledge of lesser-known creatures like the endangered bilbies of Australia. Next slide, please. There's a 4-page glossary, source notes, and a world map showing the location of the major animals covered in the text. Happily, we've already received a starred Kirkus review and a terrific review and book list from Angela Leeper. The other good news is that Lena and Vitaly have already delivered the follow-up volume, Genius Ears, which we will publish in the fall of 2024. Genius Noses is a 64-page hardcover priced at $24.95. It went on sale September 19th. Next slide, please.
Davy in the Snow. Over 25 years ago, we published the first Davy book, and now the author-illustrator team of Bridget Wenninger and Eve Thalet bring us another original adventure story featuring the cheeky bunny with soft, appealing pastel art and a just right balance of text that presents a full and thoughtful picture book story. Next slide, please. Davy in the Snow is a secular winter story about safety, courage, and sibling friendship. In the story, Davy and his little sister Mia travel through the woods to visit their grand bunnies. While visiting and sharing cakes and hugs, Davy's grandfather tells them a story about how he was once lost in the woods. He reminds the bunnies to always stick together, stay warm, and wait for help in times of need. Next slide, please. When a snowstorm strands the siblings on their way home, Davy remembers his grandfather's valuable advice and keeps his little sister safe until their family arrives and brings them safely home. Next slide, please. Kirkus Reviews calls the book a sweet tale of independence and family support, and Forward Reviews praises it as a touching tale of family devotion. I have to quote School Library Journal, who has put it best, saying about the Davy series, "What makes these books about this character so appealing is that there is a little bit of Davy in everyone." Davy is a 32-page hardcover priced at $19.95, and it went on sale September 12th. Next slide, please.
This is what I learned when I attended my first ALA as part of the North-South team. Librarians still love rainbow fish after all these years. I ask you in advance to forgive my clumsy Spanish. I also ask that you forgive me for presenting a reissued title, which I would not normally do in a forum like this. But I believe that the new translation of El Pez Arco Iris El Rescate is an important event, and I hope you will seriously consider adding it to your collections. Next slide, please. This will be the second Spanish language edition of Rainbow Fish to the Rescue, which is the second title in the Rainbow Fish series. North-South published the first edition in 1996, a year after the original German and English publications. While the English edition has continuously enjoyed robust sales, the first Spanish edition was a far more modest publication and went out of print in 2013. Like the original story, Rainbow Fish to the Rescue is an exciting and heartwarming story about friendship, commitment, and sharing. Also, like the original story, there are luminescent special effects throughout. Next slide, please. We're bringing out this new translation in response to the insatiable demand for quality Spanish language picture books. We want Rainbow Fish to join the party. Next slide, please. For the new translation, we turn to celebrated author, editor, and literary translator Lawrence Schimmel, who, I am happy to say, recently joined North-South Books as senior editor, tasked with revitalizing our Spanish language publishing program. El Pez Arco Iris El Rescate is a 32-page hardcover priced at $19.95. It just went on sale October 10th. Next, please.
Since we don't have a winter publishing season, we are thrilled to give you a sneak peek of some of our early spring 2024 titles. And I can't believe that I'm already saying 2024. So our first title here, out March 2024, is Rumi, Poet of Joy and Love. Iranian-American artist Rashin Kiri, who has published over 90 picture books across the globe, it's hard to believe, such as the titles you might recognize, Saffron Ice Cream, The Shape of Home, and Two Parrots, has written an illustrated lyrical picture book biography of the Persian poet Rumi. Next slide, please. Rumi, who is said to be the best-selling poet of all time, is most known for his popular quotes on love and reflection. Rumi, Poet of Joy and Love, introduces young readers to the Persian poet's childhood and how he became a prolific writer. Through bold and colorful illustrations inspired by 13th century Persian art, the book guides readers through Rumi's childhood, his friendship with the mystic Shams, and his eventual discovery that love is in us and everywhere. Next slide, please. To my knowledge, it is the first picture book about this iconic literary figure, and it's a very accessible text to young readers. It's written more of a narrative than a traditional nonfiction book. North-South published Rashin's first books in the United States, including her retelling of Rumi's story, The Merchant and the Parrot, in her book, Two Parrots. And Rashin herself grew up reading Rumi's stories, so she's really excited to bring this aspect of Iranian culture and literature to readers in the US. Next slide, please. The book features back matter on Rumi and a special author's note from Rashin. It comes out in March, which is Persian Heritage Month, and in time for the Iranian New Year on March 20th. So we hope this beautiful and original work will find a place in your heart and in your collections of Middle Eastern and Persian books for children. It is a 40-page hardcover book priced at $19.95, and it's out March 5th, 2024. Next slide, please.
We're very pleased to be publishing the third exquisite picture book by the marvelous Israeli author-illustrator Tal Levy. Next slide, please. Avocado Magic is the quiet but powerful story of Ellie, an impatient and precocious little girl who, with the gentle coaxing from her father, learns about the magic of growth and change by nurturing a seed from the family's avocado tree. We follow Ellie and her family through the seasons and the years, even as we witness the growth of the new avocado plant. The warm color pencil illustrations in yellows and greens evoke the Galilee landscape of Tal's childhood. Next slide, please. Complete instructions for growing your own avocado tree are included. In Avocado Magic, we see Tal fulfilling the early promise of her earlier books. A Little Courage, which we published in February 2020, and Meet Me by the Sea, which we published in February 2021. These earlier titles were well received by PW, SLJ, and the Hornbook, among others. Avocado Magic will be a 48-page picture book for hardcover, priced at $19.95. It will be available in March 2024. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining us, and feel free to reach out with any questions or comments.
Thank you so much, Team North South. Next up, we will hear from Michelle Campbell. Michelle is the Assistant Director of School Marketing at Random House Children's Books. A graduate of Florida State University, Michelle moved to Boston after college and completed her first internship in children's book publishing at the Hornbook magazine, before moving to New York City to pursue her career in children's book publishing. A fun fact about Michelle is that she used to host story times in the bookstore at the American Museum of Natural History. Thank you so much for being here today, Michelle.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm Michelle Campbell, the Assistant Director of School Marketing at Random House Children's Books, and I'm thrilled to be here chatting with you about some of our upcoming picture books. Next slide. First, we have a true in-house favorite. Buffalo Fluffalo is a hilarious story about a buffalo who tries to impress others by pretending to be bigger than he really is. But when a rainstorm soaks his disguise, the other animals gather around him and remind him that he doesn't need to pretend to be anything that he's not. This heartwarming tale, written by Emmy-winning and best-selling author Bess Cobb, encourages self-acceptance and is an engaging read for children and adults alike. Next slide, please. Mia Armstrong is an actress, a model, and a voiceover artist who once declared in a Good Morning America interview that Down syndrome is her superpower, and she's proving that to be true. Mia likes many things that other people like. She loves going to the beach, she loves the color blue, hence the color of the cover, and she loves to draw. But she doesn't really like it when strangers stare at her because she looks a little bit different than them. In this highly personal and debut picture book, Mia Armstrong offers a glimpse into the life of a child with Down syndrome, helping some readers see themselves in a book and helping others understand their friends, classmates, and family members who are neurodivergent. This is such an inspirational and important book to share with readers of all ages. Next slide, please. The Last Stand is a story about one little boy who is excited to work alongside his papa as they collect eggs, plums, peppers, and pumpkins to sell at their stand in the farmer's market. Of course, it's more than just a farmer's market. Papa knows all of the customers' orders, from Mrs. Rose's pumpkins to Mr. Johnny's peppers. But when Papa can't make it to the stand one day, his community gathers around him with homemade dishes made from his own produce. This is such a beautiful and tender intergenerational story inspired by the author's own childhood in the rural South, and it celebrates a farm stand that can represent more than a farm stand, things like the importance of family, community, and hope. Next slide, please. From Greg Pizzoli, the Geisel Award-winning author, comes a hilarious new picture book. Susan, the duck, has the worst luck in the world. But with each unfortunate event, her pal Wolf shows up with a gift that she has won. See how Susan's luck changes throughout this funny story, cleverly titled Lucky Duck. Next slide, please. In a land where horses are mythical beasts, there lived a teeny-weeny unicorn, though that was not his name. His family lived in a palace that was extra large. Everything was oversized, and his siblings liked to use him as a pawn in their chess games. Overwhelmed, the teeny weeny unicorn ran away and met a salty gnome in the garden of their castle. The encounter made him question if he is teeny weeny or is he just the right size. Caldecott Honor-winning author-illustrator Sean Harris's book celebrates self-acceptance and delivers an important reminder to readers that we are all the right size, no matter how big or teeny. Kids will love to read this one over and over again. Next slide. Rachel Ignatoffi's What's Inside series has made nonfiction truly accessible and engaging. Through diagrammed and vibrant illustrations, too many pop-ups. Through diagrammed and vibrant illustrations of elementary science and her beautiful and distinctive art style. From What's Inside a Flower, she moved to What's Inside a Caterpillar's Cocoon. And now she's here to teach us more about birds, about their nest, their eggs, and with a touch of humor and compassion for our friends with wings in the sky. Next slide, please. From the creators of the best-selling All Are Welcome series comes All Are Welcome Wherever You Go. Follow a set of kids and their families through the big and small milestones of a child's life, culminating in a school graduation. With colorful illustrations and bouncing rhyming text, this modern and diverse story leaves you with an inspiring message. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I want you to know I'm so proud of you. Next slide, please. From master picture book creator and two-time Caldecott Medal winner Sophie Blackall comes a thoroughly engaging, hilarious picture book that celebrates the joys of playing make-believe. Join a child captain and a parent first mate as they embark on a wild high seas adventure, all without leaving their own living room. Sophie's artwork for this book is unlike anything that she's done before. She uses two different styles throughout the story, one for the fantasy portion and one for the reality story. This beautiful and hilarious picture book celebrates the importance of creativity and imaginative play and is sure to delight fans and new readers alike. Next slide, please. Join the greatest race of all time. The reigning champion dog defends her title against the formidable strawberry. Follow this hilarious story of a dog and a strawberry competing in an epic race. Dog sizes up a strawberry, dances around it, and challenges it to a race. She dashes left and then right, but the strawberry doesn't budge. Who will win? Well, you'll have to pick up a copy to find out. Next slide. And that wraps up for Random House Children's Books. Thanks so much for listening. And please follow us on social media, on Twitter, on Pinterest, and Facebook. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Michelle. Next, we will hear from Carolina Schwartz. Carolina is a publisher strategist with close to 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and content development. She has worked with publishers of different sizes in Europe, Latin America, Canada, and the US, developing systems that generate ongoing demand for their titles and reduce returns. She currently runs the sales and marketing efforts of Clavis Publishing in the US, among other clients. And I will pass it over to Carolina.
Hi everyone, I'm very happy to be here with you introducing Clavis's fall and winter picture books. We have great titles today, so I'm gonna get right to it. Our first title is The New Bicycle, and this is the gold medal winner of the 2022 US edition of the Key Colors competition. This is a competition that we run every 2 years, and the goal is to discover new illustrators and to publish beautiful picture books that have yet to see the light. This competition started about 30 years ago in international markets, and this is our second time running it in the United States. The first time was in 2020. In this little road movie layered with meaning, Darcy Dazels takes us on a beautiful, beautiful ride. This is an ode to enjoying the simple things in life, expanding our horizons, and the beauty of one's home. Mary lives in a very normal house in a very normal neighborhood, but one day she gets a new bicycle. It's bright, it's bold, and it's brimming with possibilities. Mary sets off to see where her new bicycle will take her, and her trip down the block becomes a fantastic adventure. During her journey, paving her own way, she meets new friends, transports precious cargo, and finds endless places to explore before returning home. This is perfect for read aloud, for exploring, and from going everywhere from the comfort of your favorite reading space. Next up, we have What Really Happens at Night. This is the classic I don't want to go to bed story, but it's a quirky take on it. Kirkus calls it a book of bedtime questions, big and small, delightful bedtime fare, and ironically, a potential really get to sleep tool. Our silver winner of the Key Colors competition is, as I said before, a bedtime story. This little girl knows it's bedtime, but she doesn't really want to go to sleep yet. There's so much to think about. She has so many questions. What happened to my other sock? Why is Daddy losing his hair? What does the sun do at night? And most of all, why am I so sleepy? Which is to parents' delight towards the end of the story. The everyday questions of a little girl are visualized in the pictures with a lot of imagination and also humor. A million philosophical and other pretty down-to-earth questions meet search and find in this nighttime story about children's natural curiosity. It has vibrant colors, quirky characters, which are paired with engaging illustrations that spark the reader's imagination. It is soothing, and it has a very nice tone where little ones can open up and engage in conversation before falling asleep with some giggling here and there. The last title in our Key Colors competition winner list is How Do you become friends with the moon? This title is already a Kirkus star review. When three friends have many questions, they soon discover that their greatest question of all is yet to be answered. Will the moon ever come down and stay with us? But no matter how hard they try to find the answer, she still doesn't come. Until one special night. This is a truly whimsical story about a girl and a dragon who would like to be friends with the moon. And they try many different things to get the moon to come down and play with them. They have a tea party. They try to ask many questions. They play along. Maybe if they're really fun, she'll come down. But towards the end of the story, we find out that the moon does come down only to do what the moon does, which is to go up again. This is a story about cycles and the cycle of life. And it's also a great story for all of us that are fascinated with the moon. It has soothing illustrations and very familiar situations. There is very little text that allows for magical illustrations to take the center stage. And if you notice, all the illustrations are done within a circle, which is meant to represent the shape of the moon. Next up, we have Just One Pebble, One Boy's Quest to End Hunger. And this is a nonfiction story. This is the story of, as Kirkus says it, a very unusual 9-year-old who makes the world of difference by providing food and other resources to people in need. In this story of community service, social responsibility, and activism, we follow Brandon Mannering, who, in 2013, attended the Kids' State Dinner at the White House after winning the Healthy Lunchtime Channel as a 9-year-old with his very nutritious and affordable tortilla bowl recipe. At the time, the First Lady, Michelle Obama, told him, well, now that you have made it here, how are you going to pay it forward? So Brandon started the 3B Foundation, The 3Bs stand for Brandon Brown Bag Foundation, which is a charity that has since distributed over 16,000 brown bags with healthy food, a letter from Brandon, and information with resources to homeless and low-income communities. The end papers include his bio, information about the brown bags, and some words from Brandon on what we can all do to help someone in need. This is a truly inspiring story. We now have Everything is New, which is a very touching, endearing story about new challenges, new places, and how hard it can be for little kids to get used to it. In this book by a young author-illustrator from Tehran in Iran, we see how this little boy moves to a new house in a new neighborhood in a new part of the city, and he's having none of it. He doesn't like the trees because the trees give a different shade from the old trees in his old house. He doesn't like the pool in his new house because this pool is really scary, pretty much unlike his previous one. And there's also a neighbor that comes over and wants to be his friend, but he doesn't really want to be his friend because he's not really interested in any of the new friends. The only thing that keeps him going is the bicycle, which he had from his previous house. But one day something happens and that bicycle breaks. So Daddy gets him a new bicycle, which obviously he doesn't like because new is scary and it's not what he wants. But Daddy puts new stickers on the bicycle, and he even gets stickers from the previous bike onto this one. So this little boy starts trying this new bicycle, and he discovers that indeed, trying new things can be good. He first starts thinking, well, new things aren't that bad. This bicycle is pretty good. It's more comfortable than the other one, and maybe I can go a longer distance. Towards the end, we find that he realizes that change can sometimes be good. This title is also available in Spanish. Tim Does His Own Thing is another story that's going to be available in Spanish. And this is a story about identity and diversity. Tim hatches from his egg, and the other birds, they just decide that he needs to learn to fly because he's a bird and birds fly. But Tim is not so sure. So all the other birds try to get him to fly, and they try different things to try to get him to fly. But Tim is having none of it. He doesn't want to fly, and he doesn't even want to kind of try to learn to fly because he doesn't see the point of it. All the different birds and Tim go on different adventures to try to get him to fly, but it's not happening. Towards the end of the story, we realize why Tim can't fly. His daddy comes to get him. He's been looking for him all over the place, and we see the real story. Tim's dad is a penguin, and as we know, penguins are flightless birds. Now the story changes when Tim tries to teach all the other birds to swim, and the other birds will have none of it. They just want to fly. This is a lovely story to talk about diversity and to talk about being true to oneself. We now have Where Do Babies Come From? This is from the Butterflies in Your Belly series, and it came after All About Your Body, which just came out in June of 2023. This series makes bodies discussable with tailor-made books for different ages. Children grow, and butterflies in your belly grows with them. In this title, Noah is going to be a big sister. There is a baby in mommy's belly, but how did the baby get there? How does the baby grow? When will the baby come out of mommy's belly, and how? Children can learn about this and many different topics in this book. With 40 pages, this serves as a perfect first introduction to babies and reproduction. It also includes fun games and questions to foster comprehension and easy reading. And finally, I want to introduce to you the Want to Know series. In this series, we have different nonfiction titles that can teach the kids about different topics from around the world. What's really particular about the series is that all the titles in it have 36 pages, 4 of which fold out, and 2 of which have flaps. The end pages include quizzes and different activities to foster comprehension and interest. With many different topics, the first one is the harbor, where children can learn everything about the harbor, about ships, about commercial transportation, and what it takes, and all the people that work to make this happen. We also have music, where children can learn about different music from all over the world.
In going to the movies, we learn all there is to know about production and behind the scenes and all the great people that make movies what they are. We learn about their jobs, we learn about the specific tasks that they're in charge with, and it's all gonna make a more beautiful experience next time we hit the big screen. Children can also learn about insects and nature and their place in nature with very engaging illustrations and a lot of facts to know and discover. They can learn about the weather and the weather across different parts of the world. And last but not least, they can know about the rabbit and all there is to know about this great pet that we can have at home, but can also live in the wild. So thank you so much for attending this webinar, and all the information is available to you through a spreadsheet, but if you have any questions, you can reach out to me or you can scan the code to check out our backlist catalog. Thank you so much.
Thank you to Carolina. And next we will hear from Colette Perry. Colette has worked in marketing at Charlesbridge for 5 years. Born and raised in Portland, Oregon, she holds a bachelor's degree in communications and music from Simmons University. Welcome, Colette.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to share some of our favorite upcoming fall titles. Let's jump right in with some STEM highlights. First up is a brand new series from educator Lola Schaefer, illustrated by Drusilla Santiago, Hands-On Science. Matter was released in July, while Geology, out this month, has been hailed by Kirkus Reviews as appealing and accessible. There's no better way to learn science than by doing science, and the Hands-On Science series is no exception, taking readers on a mind's eye tour of a geology lab where they can peel open the layers of the Earth's mantle, slide tectonic plates together, and press their hand into the ground for 1 million, 2 million, 3 million years to make a fossil. This Bill Nye meets press here concept is perfect for exploring key scientific ideas. Whether they're clapping the book together to strike up a flint fire, or tracing the path of a river hundreds of times to erode a canyon, readers will step into a kinesthetic, participatory world that makes learning stick. And Drusilla Santiago's clean, inviting illustrations will draw little eyes and little fingers like a magnet. Keep an eye out for Hands-On Science Matter, available now, Hands-On Science Geology, also available now, and Hands-On Science Motion, on sale February 27th, 2024. Fans of Ruth Spiro's Baby Love Science series will cheer to hear that she has a new picture book series on the way. How to Explain Coding to a Grown-Up is the first installment in the How to Explain Science series, encouraging kid experts to share their technological and scientific know-how with the grown-ups in their lives. What is coding, and why do you need to know about it? Follow along as our kid expert explains to her grown-up how computers are a part of our everyday lives, hiding in everything from clocks to cars. Ruth's expertly vetted text walks us through algorithms, conditionals, and variables in kid-friendly language, with lots of tips along the way to make teaching and learning any subject easy peasy. How to Explain Coding to a Grown-Up by Ruth Spiro and illustrated by Teresa Martinez is on sale now. We have one more science surprise for you, The Enchanting Night Owl Night by Susan Edwards Richmond, gloriously illustrated by Maribel Lechuga. In October, Mama becomes a night owl. Her daughter Sova desperately wants to go with her into the dark woods of Massachusetts to study migrating saw-whet owls. This year, Sova is finally big enough to come along. She helps Mama check the mist nets and set up an audio lure, and then it's a long night of waiting in the cabin, checking the nets at 30-minute intervals, and hoping for even one feathery nighttime visitor. They will weigh, measure, and band the owl, checking its age with a special black light, and then release it to find its way on the long night road that saw-whet owls travel. Maybe one day, Sova will meet owl number 5080 again. I absolutely adore Maribel Lechuga's art. I mean, come on, look at this. Her colors and textures are just so evocative, and they really capture the magic of this special experience. This book is also a beautiful representation of a strong mother-daughter bond and a celebration of women in STEM. Back matter includes more information about owl species, banding projects, and resources for further reading. Night Owl Night is available now, just in time for saw-whet migration season. While we love a good science title here at Charlesbridge, I am also delighted to share some sweet stories. First up is Babo by Astrid Kamalian with illustrations by Anahit Samirjan. An Armenian rug is a work of art, and Rug Washing Day is a smooth operation, mostly, in this fun and sunny celebration of working together and honoring cultural heritage. Let's hear a little more from author Astrid Kamalian and Charlesbridge editor Karen Boss.
Hello, everybody. My name is Karen Boss, and I'm a senior editor at Charlesbridge Publishing, and I am so thrilled to be here today with Astrid. Astrid, can you introduce the title of your book and your name and a little more about you?
Hi, everyone. I'm Astrid Kamalian. I'm so excited to talk about my picture book today. It's Babo, A Tale of Armenian Rug Washing Day, coming out on September 19th, 2023.
So let's talk about the book. It's about a group of kids washing rugs. So can you tell us a little bit about why you wanted to write a book about that?
It's a happy childhood memory, and I had a very happy childhood growing up in Armenia. I actually wrote the first draft on a very cold Chicago autumn day. All of a sudden, this very happy image of my childhood memories comes, me and my Babo and my siblings washing rugs together, and it was instant. I knew it. I need to write about it.
That's excellent. So the word babo means grandmother in the specific type of Armenian that you grew up speaking, right?
Yes, this is Artsakh dialect, and I am from Artsakh, and all my grandparents are, and my wonderful Babo, she would speak to us in Artsakh dialect. And for me, this dialect, it's how my happiness and delicious food and love sounds to me.
So can you talk about the joy in the book and how you think that this will resonate with kids around doing chores with family?
None of this we ever perceived as anything but play. I mean, we always thought, oh my God, rug washing, this is our favorite thing. Now, as I talk about the book with my community and I meet other Armenians, I have not met a single person who doesn't say, oh my God, rug washing was one of my favorite things to do. And we did so much work that could be perceived as work by grown-ups. For us, it was just play. A lot of things are just play for kids, and that's what makes it so fun for them and joyful and how they learn, actually. So Anahit, her illustrations are sunshine on a page. You open the book, the sun shines through it. I mean, just look at that. This is one of my very favorite spreads. I don't know how I got so blessed and lucky.
So one last question. What do you want kids and grown-ups, after they read your book, what do you want them to kind of come away with?
I want them first and foremost to experience the immense joy of being welcome in an Armenian family. I hope you check it out. It's called Babo, A Tale of Armenian Rug Washing Day, coming out in September 2023. I hope you get to really enjoy this very ancient tradition, and I hope it will be a little more tangible for you now.
What a wonderful message to hear from the author and editor. Babo is on sale now. From a sunny Armenian summer to the spooky woods of a favorite fairy tale, Mahogany by Janae Brown Wood, with illustrations by John Joven, delivers a fun and fashionable spin on the Red Riding Hood story. Author Janae Brown Wood also has a special message for you today. Let's tune in.
Mahogany, a Little Red Riding Hood tale. Mahogany's needle bobbed up and down as music filled her world. She looped and threaded, stitching together stunning fabrics. She was so deep in her zone that she didn't even hear her mama. "Girl, I'm calling you," Mama said, pulling Mahogany's earphones down. "You can't hear anything with those on," Mama said. "Here you are, wasting the day away instead of getting outside." "You say wasting the day away," said Mahogany. "But look!" Mahogany tied her newest design around her neck, a beautiful red patchwork cape. "That is nice," Mama said, "just lovely. But can you do me a favor and take this honey cornbread to GMOS for dinner tonight? I'll join you two after work." Now, you might be able to guess what's going to happen next, and you'd be right. But what's really fun about this story is my spunky character Mahogany adds a fun little twist to this classic Red Riding Hood tale. Yes, she encounters the big bad wolf, but Mahogany stands by a willow tree, her long black curly hair blending in with its branches. She hides in the forest, her ebony skin merging in with the shadows. And Mahogany knows that the lavender scent in her hair and on her skin will mix with the scents of the meadow flowers, tricking any wolf nose. I'm Janae Brownwood, PhD, author, and educator. I wrote this story because when I was thinking about my own childhood, there were not very many fairy tales that featured characters that looked like me or that had similar characteristics as I did. And so I decided, you know what? I want to write my own spin on a classic fairy tale. I really used the inspiration of nature, but also the inspiration of Mahogany's natural hair and beautiful skin to help her overcome her problems. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, when it comes to overcoming obstacles or solving problems, it's often in the acceptance of our beautiful selves or the embracing of our natural talents that we find what we need to succeed.
Mahogany is on sale March 19th, 2024. I'm very excited to wrap up today's presentation with a new title in our flagship storytelling math series. Yumbo Gumbo by Keela V. Dawson with illustrations by Katie Crumpton is a rollicking story of family fun, delicious Creole cooking, and data gathering. The Storytelling Math series celebrates diverse kids and their families as they use math to answer questions and solve problems in their daily lives, and Yumbo Gumbo is no exception. Annabelle and Bo are excited to go to Mommy and Papi's house. Today, their grandparents are going to teach them to make gumbo, Annabelle's favorite. She wants lots and lots of delicious okra. But then little brother Bo pipes up. No slimy okra. He wants chicken gumbo. There's only one way to make a fair decision. Take a vote. But what do Annabelle and Bo do when it comes out as a tie? With patience, more voting, and a little creative thinking, the two siblings finally come to a delicious solution that leaves everybody happy. Back Matter gives a glossary of Louisiana Creole words, a note from the author about the history of gumbo and Creole culture, and a note from a math educator about connection activities kids can do with their grown-ups to explore the power of data. Yumbo Gumbo is on sale February 20th, 2024. And thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at cperry@charlesbridge.com. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much, Colette. Finally, we will hear from Chelsea Abdullah. Chelsea is a marketing associate at Astra Books for Young Readers and a member of the Children's Book Council Early Career Committee. She works with creators across Astra's various children's imprints. Take it away, Chelsea.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chelsea Abdullah, and I am thrilled to be running you through a short and sweet preview of some of our upcoming spring 2024 titles. Afterwards, I'm going to hand the mic over for a special in-house editor and illustrator presentation. But first, next, let's talk books. Everywhere Beauty is Harlem is more than just a snapshot of Harlem life. It's a picture, well, pictures, worth 1,000 words. Brought to you by the dynamic team of Gary Golio and E.B. Lewis. Next. This gorgeous nonfiction picture book follows the famed Harlem photographer Roy DeCarava on his journey through the neighborhoods of Harlem in the late 1940s. Next. This is a celebration of life, creativity, and love, and this is the perfect STEAM picture book for young creatives. Next. Next up is Pepper and Me, written and illustrated by international picture book superstar Beatrice Alamagna. Next. This is the story about a little girl who falls, scrapes her knee, and is very annoyed by the ugly scab that appears. But since she's stuck with it, she decides to give it a name, Pepper. Next. This sweet picture book takes a universal experience and gives it an absurdist, wonderful twist, one that kids will find relatable and adults charming. Now our next book is, next, One of a Kind, the first picture book about the remarkable life of Sydney Taylor. This beautiful book is brought to you by the perfect duo of Richard Mitchelson, 4-time winner of the Sydney Taylor Medal, and talented Jewish illustrator Sarah Green. Next. Follow Sydney Taylor, who was then Sarah Brenner, through her life as a bookish child living in New York's impoverished Lower East Side to her debut as an actress, a dancer, and a writer who showed children the joy of seeing their culture reflected on the page. Next. This powerful nonfiction biography is sure to inform, uplift, and inspire. Next. Next up, we have a fun picture book release from best-selling and award-winning author Sharon G. Flake. Sharon is incredibly well-known in the young adult sphere, but we also firmly believe she should be a household name in picture books. Next. Perfect for fans of Mo Willems, this quirky all-dialogue picture book is a silly tale about two friends, Cat and Duck, who go on an adventure but then quickly discover a problem. Duck is allergic to cat, or is he? Next. The great thing about You Make Me Sneeze is that it will make you laugh. This delightful picture book is a story of friendship, shenanigans, and finding common ground. Next. Anyone in the mood for a revolting meet cute? Brought to you by legendary duo David Sedaris and Ian Faulkner. Pretty Ugly is the story of an ugly little girl and a big ugly family. Next. In this beautifully gross picture book, Anna Van Oger is just minding her monsterly business until one day, next, she wakes up with a sickeningly adorable human face. Can she find a way to stop looking like an ugly human girl and regain her gorgeous monstrosity? This book's ending, which tackles the question, is true beauty really on the inside, will surprise you. Next. Now for something totally different. This is a deceptively simple, cozy picture book about using everyday objects to create whimsical play scenarios. Next. A kingdom, a zoo. Little ones will feel rewarded when they guess what these neighborhood kids are building in their homes and yards. Next. Perfect for daytime or bedtime, this book is for all the parents, teachers, and librarians who want to encourage kids to stretch the limits of creative play. Next. Next, we're going under the sea with Mermaid's Song to the Sea. This is not only the summer vacation book, but also a magical year-round bedtime story. Next. In this vibrant rhyming picture book, 3 mermaids offer goodnight blessings to creatures under the sea. In addition to this book being accessible and fun, it's also an ode to our world's incredible marine life. Next. This one's for the mermaid fans, the beach kids, the kids you can't get out of the water, and of course, the bookish kids. Next. From Pulitzer Prize-winning novelist Viet Thanh Nguyen and rising star illustrator Minnie Phan comes Simone, a classic in the making about a little girl who wakes up one morning to a wildfire raging outside her home. Next. This powerful picture book follows Simone from her home to a high school gym shelter, where she learns the parallel story of how her ma evacuated her home in Vietnam due to a flood. Next. This poignant narrative is not just a call to action, it's a heart-seizing tale that delivers hope and optimism about environmental consciousness. Next. Okay, this title I love to say out loud. A bear, a fish, and a fishy wish. Is that not one of the most fun titles you've heard? Well, I can assure you that the rest of this book is just as fun to read out loud. Next. Last year, we published Daniel Bernstrom and illustrator Brandon James Scott's A Bear, a Bee, and a Honey Tree, and it was a huge hit with kids. So now we bring you a new chase. This one involves a bumbling bear and a rather sassy fish. Next. With slapstick humor, expressive art, and rhythmic, perfectly placed words, this picture book is ideal for kids who are just learning to read. Next. And now for our book spotlight, Jump for Joy. In this charming and imaginative tale, a young girl seeks a dog and a dog seeks a kid. Joy wants a dog so fiercely she begins to make them out of snow, seashells, and whatever else is at hand. But her true furry friend is waiting just around the corner to be discovered. Next. As much as I would love to talk about this beautiful book, I thought a behind-the-scenes illustrator and editor discussion would be much more interesting. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the incredibly talented illustrator of Jump for Joy, Hadley Hooper, and her editor, Rebecca Davis, editorial director of Astra Young Readers and Wordsong. Take it away, Rebecca.
Thank you, Chelsea. Hadley, as you know, this book was signed up by Leonard Marcus when he was working with us, and you were the first illustrator that we sent it to, the one we most wanted to illustrate it. And you said yes pretty quickly, which doesn't happen a lot. So I'm wondering what drew you to jump for joy? What made you want to illustrate this text?
You know, there was something about it right away. Her text was so specific and concise, and yet there's an abstract quality to it at the same time. It's about a little girl named Joy and a dog named Jump that are both yearning for pals. And I really wanted, one of the things I really loved about it was that their journey was very parallel. And I'm an animal lover, and Jump was treated equally. So his hopes and desires for a pal were just the same. And I love that. And I think that's also, that was a cue for me to put him on his hind legs. So they very much eventually see eye to eye.
I always wondered why you did that. That's cool. Color plays an important role in the book. Did you know from the start that you wanted it to begin black and white and then burst into full color at the end? And how did you decide to use color the way that you did for like the night sky, for the red ball, the brown ink for Jump, Joy, and the geese, and that astonishingly moving blue in your wordless spread? How did you make that decision?
Well, we can go to the next slide. You can kind of see, excuse me. I started with lots and lots of drawings of these characters, and I had this pour brush and this bottom of the barrel ink pot, and it pretty quickly, I really wanted them to stand out from their environment and the objects that they're interacting with, to sort of put them, to make them kindred, that they're not at odds with their environment, but they are, you know, because they're looking for each other. I really wanted them to stand out. And then the red ball just sort of became this, it's not bouncing, but this ball through all the spreads that I had a teacher in college that always urged us to put something he called the point of incandescence in each piece. And so in this case, I'm sure I'm totally misusing or misunderstanding what he was talking about. But in this case, it's the red ball. It just sort of goes from spread to spread with Jump. So he's looking for somebody to, a pal to play with him.
It feels to me like you've created a whole world in your art. Like every time I read this book, I wish I could shrink myself down and walk through the landscape that you created. And I wonder if it felt like that to you while you were creating the art, and also if that was something that you did on purpose. Like, were you aware that you were creating something that people might want to walk through if they could?
Oh, well, I hope that's possible. Let's go to the next slide, and I'll walk you through a little bit about how I created this, and then we can talk about, like, I did in fact create a life-size pop-up once, which was really fun. But here I just do a ton of drawings to just try and get to know the characters. In this case, it's Jump and Joy. And then next slide, please. And the next slide, please. And sometimes my sources are really high art. This is a sculpture of Penelope waiting for Odysseus. Next slide, please. And then I tried to use, you know, maybe Jump, kind of, is he waiting for Joy? Just, you know, using him. And then I also use lower, closer to home things. Next slide, please. And that is, oops, there's Augie. He is my Jump. And then the next 4 slides we can run through really quickly. Those are just the pop-ups that I did for the Denver Art Museum, where people could walk through, interact with the space. And it was really fun to see people kind of animating the project. So it was such a thrilling book to work on, and I hope people really enjoy it.
It was a thrilling book for me to work on too, Hadley. I loved working with you on this, and I just find it such a moving book. Amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So
I love it too.
Thank you very much. I think we ran out of time. We're not going to get to our last question, but it was great talking with you.
Well, thanks for having us here, Book List. I really, really appreciate it. And what a thrill for me to be able to see all these amazing, amazing books coming out.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.
And I'm just going to wrap up very quickly to say thank you all so much. That's it for Astra Books for Young Readers. If you want to check out any of the titles, whether it's Jump for Joy or any of the other titles I've mentioned, we do have them available on Edelweiss. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Team Astra. That was great. And another thank you to all of today's presenters. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's slide presentation, title list, certificate of completion, and video recording. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. Between January 1st and August 31st, 2023, ALA's Office for Intellectual Freedom documented challenges to 1,915 unique titles, an increase of 20% from the same reporting period in 2022. Join the fight to help protect the freedom to read by supporting the Unite Against Book Bans campaign, and visit their website, uniteagainstbookbans.org, for resources, toolkits, merchandise, to donate, and more. And remember that you can utilize Booklist to support your library's collection development choices with reviews backed by the ALA. We have a special webinar subscription offer, and don't forget that your subscription dollars help ALA advocate on behalf of libraries, assisting those facing an unprecedented number of book challenges. Email us at info@booklistonline.com for more information. Attention booksellers. Booklist Reader showcases books your customers can purchase from your store today. In addition to sharing from your website, you can now distribute print copies to your visitors. Scan the QR code on the screen or visit our website to order copies for your store today. We have a special announcement. Introducing Booklist's Book Club, a year-long partnership with your favorite publishers. Each month, Booklist will showcase book club picks and supporting materials from a different publisher, offering a wide range of genres and age groups to fit the needs of any book discussion group. Mark your calendars for November, when we'll hear about book club picks from Macmillan Publishers. To find out more information, scan the QR code on this slide or visit our website. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. One more huge thank you to our panelists and to our sponsors, North-South Books, Random House Children's Books, Clavis Publishing, Charlesbridge, and Astra Publishing House. This concludes today's webinar.